Hello, everyone. Welcome to CIS274, actually CIS174. I am Bob Hendry, and today is the 21st of February, 2020. So, welcome to class. A couple things. Just kind of a short overview on where we're at as far as the semester goes, and then we're going to talk about the assignments that we have at hand. Now, we're about a third of the way through the semester. So, the third that we went over is probably the easiest third of the entire semester. I didn't mention you guys at the beginning of class when we started that we kind of start out a little on the slow side. I want to make sure everyone kind of moves forward as a group, even though we might be going a little bit slower than I would like otherwise. But I think that's fine because we still end right where we need to. So don't worry about that if you think we're going to be going this slow, if you're looking at some of the assignments and yawning and saying, Bob, I know this. We do pick it up, but we do end up at the same spot anyway, regardless of the pace. But in my experience, if we start maybe at 70% speed and then we pick it up, we still get to where we need to be, but we lose less people, including you. I mean, even the people that make it, throughout the semester are a little bit lost somewhat. So that's where we're at. So the first third of the semester. So Bob, where are we? Well, we are doing Windows Server Administration, right? You're all in the right spot. Hopefully you know that by now. And to do that is we're using virtual servers in Microsoft Azure. So you should already have an Azure account. You should know how to log into Azure. You should be able to spin up a virtual machine. You should be able to log into that virtual machine. Again, that virtual machine should be Windows 2019 server. That's the one that you should have spun up by now. You should be able to log in by using remote desktop, and then what you should be able to do is you should be able to do some basic Active Directory stuff. Now, there's going to be more on Active Directory as we go because it's a very important subject. As you already know, probably, Active Directory is more than just users. It's devices, it's permissions, it's kind of one piece of a puzzle. So we've explored the first piece of it, where we kind of talked about the basics of Active Directory and creating users in Active Directory. And that's where you should be at right now. So if you're comfortable doing those things, hooray, 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 3 cheers for you. We're right where we are right where we need you to be throughout the class. You should be able to go into your server. You should be able to log in. You should be able to go in Active Directory, create some Active Directory entries, know about basically what you're doing, create some users, and maybe even log into those users. Now, that's where we're at right now. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to do a bunch of things. Your users need to have things that they're allowed to do. That's called a security model. We don't know about that yet. We also don't know really about devices. We don't know about organizational units. We don't know that much about domain controllers, and we don't know a lot about some of the other basics, such as URLs and primary domain controllers and secondary domain controllers. And there's a lot more to do. So we should have the basics down. You should be good to go. Now, you should be pretty much through assignment number 3 going into assignment number 4. Now, most of the assignments that we've done, like 3 of the 4 of them have been hands-on, go into Windows and do something. And then there's been one that's been more of an essay, simple essay, where I wanted you just to kind of study and research something. So notice I use, very informal terms. I'll say do something, research something, and I kind of do that throughout the semester, and I'll continue to do so. Where, 75% of our exercises or our assignments are going to be hands-on, where we're actually going to do something, and the other 25% are going to be more research-oriented. I want you guys not just to be, configuration keyboard monkeys where you just know how to do something and you don't know the theory behind it. That's important. I mean, it is important. I always say my theory is practice before theory. You should know how to do something before you should know the theory behind it. In a perfect world, but sometimes you need to know the theory before you know how to do something. But anyway, I'm getting a little bit channel surfy here. So what I'd like you guys to do is not only do I want you guys to know how to perform these Windows tasks, I want you to know why you're doing it. And I want you to know the background of security models and organizational units, why we are doing things in this class virtually rather than on premises. I want you to know those things. So if the subject comes up, with your peers, with your professors, or at a job interview, you'll have some basis on that. Someone will say, hey, I see that you've been doing some virtualization and running virtual servers in Azure. That's pretty cool. So, hey, tell me, so why aren't you doing things on physical hardware? You wouldn't know unless you actually looked that up and you had a little bit of a background on it. So I did have some questions on the essay about, the purpose of it, why are we covering things that maybe are more theoretical? And we don't cover a lot of them, but 25% of the time, like I said, we're going to be looking at why we're doing something and try to give you some basis in which to develop critical thought. I don't want you guys just to be just at a keyboard, just coding things and just, configuring things for really no purpose other than someone told you to do it. So anyway, that's where you should be at for the semester, and that's kind of where we're going. Now, a little bit of a reminder on the format of what we're doing here. I want you guys to get as much work as you can done by our class on Friday. And that's why I like our class being on Friday, because it gives us the whole week to kind of get to class. Again, this is a little bit of a different format than some of you, if not half of you. Some of you are used to it, where I try for you guys, my goal for you is to get as much stuff done as possible before class starts, so that when we have our physical face-to-face time on Friday at 6 o'clock, we can save that time for really important focused things, such as one-on-one time, questions. We don't have to cover new material necessarily because you've had time to cover the new material and time to absorb it, time to do your assignments. A good analogy is for some of you that have had English courses where you might have a literature course. And in your literature course, you might have a book that you're discussing. To Kill a Mockingbird, Old Man in the Sea. Pick one. You don't go to class to read the book. You don't say, well, we're going to get together on Friday and we're going to read a book. No. You read the book when you're out of class, and then you're going to come into class and you're going to discuss the book. That's exactly what we do here. So if you're comfortable with the material on Friday, you don't have any pressing questions that can't be solved via email, you need face-to-face time, you want to work on your lab assignments, you need me there to bounce ideas off of, or you want to bounce ideas off your fellow students, which is important too. That's what Fridays are for. Fridays are the workshop. It is the hands-on portion. Remember, no new material is handled on Friday. As a matter of fact, for those of you that have been there, I'll mention that. And I'll say that, this is going to be new. It'll be something that we'll cover next week. I'll answer your question, but it's something that needs to be discussed with the class. So Fridays are optional. So if you do miss Friday, you're not missing, again, anything that is that's going to be part of your new lecture. Again, I save that for your reading and for things like right now. All right, folks, so at this point, you can start with your reading links, look at your assignment, catch up with your work, and start with your assignment. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm not hard to find. You know where I could be found. And if you have any questions, I will see you with your questions, either virtually or face-to-face. Thank you for your time, and I bid you all a very well rest of the day. Thank you.